Big Roki Sasaki news here on Saturday morning, or at least I think it's big news, but according to ESPN insider Jeff Passan, amongst others, the Japanese superstar will now be posted during the winter meetings, bringing that timeline, that posting window up in the Sasaki sweepstakes by about a month. We'll say this. The posting window, when he can talk to teams, that much moves up, but this shouldn't affect his signing window, or at least when he's eligible, when he's actually going to be signed. The expectation is that that window will still be after January 15th, when the next international signing window does open. That's what MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred wants. That's what helps balance the idea that the Dodgers aren't this powerhouse that already has some sort of handshake agreement, was the quote, with the Dodgers. Sasaki doesn't have a handshake agreement with the Dodgers to sign there. It makes all 30 teams would have their full international bonus, their international money pool, their bonus pool, and they would be eligible to sign Sasaki. We'll say the Dodgers definitely still considered the clubhouse favorites, but it's far from a done deal. Of course, you see Jeff Passan saying that it's no fait accompli, however you want to say it. It's not a done deal, but a lot of insiders believe the Dodgers are the likely landing spot for Roki Sasaki. Now, yesterday, we talked, my friend Doug McKain joined the channel. We talked about Roki Sasaki, where he could sign. We both kind of agree the best destination for Sasaki is Los Angeles. Can help him grow as a pitcher, make him a better pitcher. But again, like that said in the article, there are several, or in Jeff Passan's article, several teams are still expected to be significant players for Roki-san. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw to my chat with D-Mac, where we're talking about Sasaki, where he can sign his best landing spot, plus our thoughts on how Sasaki's signing, how a Sasaki signing with the Dodgers could affect their pursuit and eventual re-signing of Walker Buehler, that Walker Buehler butane reunion. How would that be affected? Anyways, just watch the clip from a recent All Dodgers Live. Enjoy, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, all that kind of stuff. I'd appreciate it if you do it, and let's get into it. Let's spin forward a little bit. I didn't want to dive too much into like Sasaki talk because we're not even there yet, but we're talking about another one of those guys where it's like, yeah, he helps Dodgers leaps and bounds most likely, even though he's still technically like a rookie, still technically a prospect, all that kind of stuff. Just I want to talk super quick and tight on Sasaki. Is it going to be Dodgers or Padres? What's the gut telling you, and what are the whispers you're hearing on it?
And after hearing Joel Wolf from Wasserman, his agent, kind of react the way he did, and how he was so upset that there was this feeling about Major League Baseball and that, hey, it's a done deal. It's a handshake deal. It's going to the Dodgers. I think that kind of led me to believe that the Padres have a better chance than anyone else, along with the Dodgers, right? The Dodgers are number one, Padres are number two. Is it a Dodgers-Padres game? Well, who's the gold standard in MLB reporting? It's Jeff Passan. Jeff Passan also mentioned teams like the Cubs, and that it's not a slam dunk for the Dodgers. But then when he is posted, when he does pick the Dodgers, everyone's going to say it was the Dodgers the whole entire time, right? So I do think that when you look at kind of the posting fees or how much the Dodgers can generate international bonus pool money, I mean, yeah, they're definitely, them and the Giants have the least amount heading into the January 15th posting date, the 2025 one. But really, I mean, everything you hear about Roki Sasaki is, I mean, that's a difference between maybe $2 or $3 million, really, at the end of the day, possibly between where they are. And depending on what the Dodgers do, you have to kind of sell off a lot of assets and resources. You can add about 60% of what you do have. Kind of gets complicated. But truth of the matter is, everything you hear about Sasaki is he's going to go to where he thinks is the team that's going to make him the best pitcher. Yeah. And you can't tell me that the Dodgers won't make him a better pitcher than the Padres will. And I think for me, he does not go to San Diego and have the stability in the foundation. But it comes down to a couple of things, too. I mean, either he wants to play with Shohei and Yamamoto or he doesn't. If he doesn't, he won't be here. If he does, and that's something that's additive, that's a plus. If that's a plus for Roki, and then it's just about the best organization, I truly believe that he's going to end up with the Dodgers. Now, I was told, too, it kind of, when it comes to Sasaki, that you need to be reminded that as great as he is, the potential that he does have, I mean, electric splitter, just 102 when he's right.
Yeah.
he's not as refined as Shohei was when he came here. He's not as refined as Yamamoto was when he came here. So when I heard that, I was like, might be nice to kind of fit into a 6-man rotation where you don't need to be your game 1, game 2, game 3, or even game 4 starter, right? He could just go in here, kind of, I was also told you don't want to rush him into the mix too. So he can go start with the Dodgers, kind of fill out the major leagues, and then some guys will go down, right? And then he'll get those opportunities. And then a couple years down the line, when arbitration hits, I think that's when the money will come, and then that's what will benefit from being on this Dodgers team. And then, look, the guy's 23 years old, man. He's going to get paid. So I still believe that Roki Sasaki is going to be a Dodger. Andrew Friedman and company, they've been laying the foundation in Japan for so many years, and we're seeing it start to really pay off. Last year, Yoshi and Shohei, and then Roki this season. So Los Angeles Dodgers of Japan, man. I'm here for it.
A quick pause here to tell you about Bet Online. It continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the football to the NBAs to the college basketballs, NHL, UFC, it's got it all. Head to Bet Online today. Don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here, and let's get back into it. Orlando in the chat says Sasaki will have the ability to tinker and fail with the Dodgers, with the Padres. Yes. He's going to be expected to perform immediately. There's two things that still give me hope for Sasaki coming to LA, and that is, like you said, there's not a better organization when it comes to developing pitchers, making them the best, as possible. Sure, it may come with an injury or 3, but you will never be a better, you'll never spin the ball better, have a better game plan and execution plan than you are with the Dodgers, because Padres, look at what they've developed. They haven't. They went out and got veteran dudes, and I just talked about this week on Dodgers territory. They had to go out and get Yu Darvish. They had to go out and get Musgrove, Michael King coming from the Yankees. Everybody, their aces are all from other teams. They don't really develop, starting pitching or anything like that very well. So I'm looking at that. If I'm Roki Sasaki, I'm also looking at the fact that the Dodgers, they got a lot of talent. They are more ready to win, even though the Padres were the better team, according to Dave and some other people. They were most likely entering that postseason. They were the hottest team, but Dodgers had heart. But still, they're going to be able to win, and you don't need to plug in and be that ace. Like Roki fits in my head as a Dodger, but maybe it's not neither of those teams. I think it most likely is those guys, but Cubs, Mets also make sense. They got Kodai Senga there as well, and he could be a star there in New York after they sign Juan Soto and everything. Would you say that hold on, we got comments first. Actually, I'm going to go to this first. Would you say that if the Dodgers, and I assume a Walker Buehler deal happens before Sasaki is able to be posted, but would a Sasaki deal take the Dodgers completely out of the razor thin, running that they're in with Walker Buehler, a return?
I would have to say yes. And I think that the odds right now are already less than 50% for Walker Buehler, just because if you're Walker Buehler, the market is more robust than you expected it to be. And a lot of that has to do with how you performed in the postseason. You had 13 scoreless innings. You get the final out of the World Series. If you're a GM out there, you don't think about Walker Buehler in the regular season. You think of that pose. You think of the "Are you not entertained?" Gladiator pose, and the confidence that he pitched with. And also, too, their analytics department, their baseball development departments, they've looked deep into how much more effective that four-seam fastball, that sweeper, that knuckle curve was. The movement, the profiles of it was all just so much better. And it truly was the best he's looked since 2021. And I think, too, you look at teams like the Braves, right? Look what they did for Chris Sale. Going out there, kind of getting him back on track. You look at a team like the Mets, right? I mean, kind of what's really, I think, going to get even more and more popular in Major League Baseball. We've already seen it. Look what the Mets did last season with Minaya. Look what they just did with Frankie Montas. Is you'll bet on that first season, and if it doesn't go right, you'll eat that second year. And you'll get that player option, and you'll live with it for $34 million. could be even close to 40 million. Whereas, hey, during the season, Walker Buehler was saying, I was afraid I was going to get released, right?
Yeah.
I was not going to be on the postseason roster. At that point of the season, you're looking at 14 million of the Jack Flaherty deal for the Tigers. At this point, I think you mentioned the Roki Sasaki and how that'll impact it. If I'm Walker Buehler, financially, what's the best thing for him? Really, I think it's going to a team like the Tigers last season, pitching well with not a ton of pressure, and then you get traded at the deadline to a contender. No one can offer you that qualifying offer, and then maybe you have one good start in the postseason, kind of like Corbin Burns did against the Royals, and then you maintain your elite postseason pitching status. You proved you can pitch more than 100 innings in the regular season and be effective, and then you're a $100 million man. And we know Walker Buehler is extremely intelligent. He knows he wants to get paid. That's the path for that. On the Dodgers, if everyone stayed healthy, you give the opportunities to the guys you're paying. And if Walker Buehler struggled early on, if he went back to the Walker Buehler that we saw last season, I mean, would he be in the ballpark? I mean, worst case scenario, right? Like a James Paxton or Noah Syndergaard, something like that, right? Because I just think about Walker Buehler. He needs to have all the opportunities to prove that he can be a 2 on his best day, 1 in moments, but really a very solid 2 to 3 in a rotation. And can he do that with the Dodgers for a full season? If they sign Roki after all that and that's stacked, remember Kershaw's coming back too, right?
Coming back too, yeah. And they also have other guys in the waiting in the wings. I know you just had Jackson Ferris on your show recently. He's somebody that I think makes his debut and can make an impact on this team this year. Landon Knack, he's still around. He still exists. He can still post some quality. Cover some quality innings for you in the very, very back end of that bullpen. Of that starting rotation. Nick Frasso is somebody that's going to exist. Emmett Sheehan comes back. And by the way, there's still 2022 All-Star Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and this is where I was asked right after the Blake Snell signing, does this mean that Walker Buehler is gone? And I was like, yeah. And then I let my heart come back into it. And I was like, no, we could find a way to get him the innings and it'll work out and whatever. The only reason he comes back is because he wants to pitch one more season with Clayton and he wants to try to run it back. But for his pocketbook, for his future, for his 2025-2026 offseason, he needs to go somewhere else. And he needs to go, and listen, he told us, I'm a problem right now. He needs to go be a problem for somebody else so he can get the bag, because this is the one time he's really going to be able to get the bag in his career. He's got to parlay this next season into something
what'd you make
special.
of his post? What'd you make of his post? I mean, he did that post on IG. I think that post was holy crap. Like, there's more teams interested than we expected. There's better offers out there than we anticipated. And I think he's kind of feeling good about the position that he's in. I'm really happy for Walker Buehler. I really, really am, because, I mean, I remember I asked him during the season, he was wearing a Jason Mask shirt, and the Jason Mask shirt said "From Hell to Hell and Back." And I'm like, bro, I was like, you trying to say something about your shirt? He's like, maybe, He's been in some dark places in his baseball pitching world as far as the trajectory of his career. And it was a massive, massive turnaround thanks to his postseason exploit. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be back, but I also do think that he's someone that's a lifetime card-carrying member of the Dodger, once a Dodger, always a Dodger family. And I was saying on my show, too, it was like, it'd be kind of the coolest thing ever in a way that if he really is gone, your last pitch for the Dodgers is striking out Alex Verdugo to win a World Series. So wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it is. And so I read the comment here. You think all four are going to be healthy? Of course not. Of course not.
No, absolutely not.
We know how this goes, right? We know how this movie ends.
We've never seen Tyler Glasnow make it through an entire season without being injured. He's going to be injured. It just needs to not happen at the end of the season. Yeah. And we need to make sure Yoshi's shoulder stays together. And Blake Snell, he's one of the guys you trust. We had the conversation. Alana and I had the conversation about, like, this is the workhorse, and that's just absurd. Blake Snell is your workhorse with all of, the issues, we'll say, that come with him and his pitch count and all of that kind of stuff. One thing I wanted to say to the question you had about the Walker Buehler posting that photo, this is my interpretation. This is what I think, and we got a couple of super chats. I'm going to get to those right now. Thanks for holding, guys. Obviously, me and Doug haven't been together for a while talking Dodger baseball, and we really love talking Dodger baseball together. More so, we love talking rumors and where people are going, because that's the fun shit. But This is how I imagine Walker Buehler. He's sitting like out in his backyard, like on some sort of lounge chair. He's got the whiskey in a nice glass. He's got a stogie, and he's just going through Suhu's photos, and he's seeing all the pictures that were taken of him during the World Series, and he's like, "That's badass." WB, those are my initials, and then he just kind of posted it.
I read way too in it, is what you're saying. I read way too freaking in it.
Or maybe I'm not reading into it at all. There's a little bit of trolling though. We understand Walker. He's in his
He's
bag
very calculated.
right now. Yeah,
he's very, very calculated.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching that.
All I gotta say is they got to send that beer bong to the Hall of Fame. That beer bong from the parade, that's gotta go to Cooperstown.
They said he was happy that his glove made it to that Hall of Fame exhibit. They should have really put that beer bong in there. I believe it, and that was one of the things.
Who's using it as a scarf, man? Who's using it as a scarf? He's a legend.
Austin Barnes told us yesterday that he's more of a stogie guy, but he hit the beer bong because I forgot exactly how he said it. He was like Walker's good with the beer bongs. Like that's right up his alley. Walker, boy, loves to have himself a brew doggy.